Hi, I've shared some of how I learned to do what I do, and so that you can help yourself. I would like to talk a little bit and share my experience with the quality of the raw ingredients. This is really important. When we're working with plant medicines, we want the highest quality of plant possible. This is something that we're putting on our body or in our body to help us heal and to feel good or to have nice skin. Right here I'd like to ask a question, and I'm not going to tell you the answer. It's something for you to think about. We have organs. What is the human's largest organ? Think about that. The quality of the ingredients you're putting in is, to me, really important. The reason I wild harvest and I grow and try to minimize my purchasing of the plants is because I want to know that they're natural, that they haven't been polluted with pesticides and herbicides. Those chemicals, toxic chemicals, go into the ground. Plants drink water. That's their food source, and the nutrients in the ground, and they absorb those, so then they pass them on to us. Organics is great and all that. For a herb farm to become certified organic, there's some real strict guidelines and paperwork. I don't know how they get anything done with trying to even keep up with the paperwork. It's astronomical. The chemicals they use to spray with, because they do, are natural occurring chemicals that just happen in nature, and bugs and molds and stuff like that just don't like them. And they have to keep strict records of those. Organic, what I'm learning, and this is all really disappointing information, it's kind of like you almost don't want to know, doesn't necessarily mean that it's not been genetically modified. I personally don't want to use any food or any plants that have been genetically modified. I believe that's a really bad thing. And I believe we're starting to see the results of that. Unfortunately, the cornflakes I ate as a child 40 years ago were genetically modified. They've been doing this for a long time. That's just how it is. There's plenty of documentary on that. When we're out wild harvesting, we want to only take the best. And we want to be respectful and only take what we need. We can grow pretty much in our yard if we have enough room for ourselves. Plants are very interesting when you get them wild harvest or grow. You need to rinse them slightly. Not much. You don't want to leach all of the stuff out. Then you need to dry them. There's all kinds of dehydrators and stuff. I personally use an Excaliburs. I like them. I dry my raw plant material at 97 degrees, anywhere from 95 to 100, not over. You'll leach out really important properties. 95 to 100 degrees is an excellent drying temperature. However, it needs to be consistent. What I like about those dehydrators is there's a fan and a temperature control, and then these racks. They're got little holes in them and stuff. I leave it on all the time until they're dry, and I check them daily and flip the screens around and feel them. And you know when they're dry in your hands, and you can no longer, you got to go through it good, because if you put it in a bag and it still has moisture, it'll mold. I have many a times opened a bag of plant material that I worked really hard to gather, and I was really needing to make something out of it, and it was mold. And I don't make medicine for mold. So it goes into the compost pile. And it's like, okay, you better really double check. So that's for yourself. When I purchase the raw ingredients that I need to make products, I don't have bees in the backyard and make my own beeswax, and I don't have coconut oil. I don't make coconut oil. So there's a lot of raw ingredients that go into products that I make. I don't have an olive tree out back, so I buy olive oil, and I just make sure and buy really good stuff. I have had a lot of experiences purchasing from companies. I found some that were good, but their U.S. office was in New York, and the shipping was really expensive. The shipping was more than the products. And those are some things to keep in mind. I try to buy local, fairly close. I get my products in sometimes just a few days. The thing about buying from companies is I really research them. I look into it. A lot of them, it's not even grown here in the United States, and I really don't understand why they are not grown parsley. It grows prolifically in my backyard. So if I can grow it, I won't buy it. I don't want to be buying stuff from a foreign country. I really believe in, everything begins with ourselves and at home, and then works its way out. There's a couple different categories of organic. There are organic growers that the farmer is certified organic. Then there are businesses that sell bulk and raw supplies that are certified organic retailers. There's a difference. You can find all this online on the government website. There's a big difference. And then when they have on their website and they're showing pictures of their farms, there's a tractor and a combine. And I personally am going, what's organic about that? I like hand harvesting. Granted, yes, I buy those, and I just always hope that there's the least amount of pollution as possible. We're not going to be pollution free. It's in the air we breathe. The toxins are in the air we breathe. That's why we have a toxic overloaded society. So it's really important to research. Don't believe everything that they have on their sites. They're companies. They have employees. They need to pay the bills. Research if the product that they're selling is supposed to have specification papers. Ask to see those. Say, I want to see proof, and where did you get it? And if they won't tell you, I would highly recommend that you don't buy from them. I'm going to say right here, right now, there are several things I don't work with and I won't work with, and I'm not going to go into explaining it. It really need to do some serious research. That is essential oils. I don't work with them. I don't use them. I have found that smelling them gives me an instant headache. To me, when I smell a product and it gives me an instant headache, something is wrong. I don't do homeopathy. How is a little pill white when it came from a yellow plant or a green plant, and how did they get that pollution in there? Really. A lot of people use them and have luck with them. I don't. I'm a real why person, and how. Why is that like that, and how? How did it get created like that? Those are important things to me. I've recently experienced something. I like hydrosols when they are steam distilled for the purpose of hydrosols, because moisturizers that have a higher content of water, aqua, you need something. And hydrosols, from what I read and what I was believing, had natural high acid content due to they still contain the essential oil from the plant from steam distillation. And I have bought some, and let me tell you this, a good hydrosol is going to cost a lot of money, just as a supposed good essential oil is going to cost you a fortune. Rose, for a little tiny bottle, is going to cost you about $200-300. That's right there, the cost of a little bottle is the absolute reason I make infused oils. Because with 4 ounces of dry plant material and 16 ounces of olive oil, I can render 14 ounces of oil. That is wonderful. To get that little tiny bottle, they used a lot of weight. Take it upon yourself to do the research, and if that's something that you're okay with, then use it. That's a personal choice. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to have it take 8 to 10 pounds of just little lavender buds to make 3 ounces of essential oil. Actually, it's about 6 pounds. That's a lot of poundage. I don't know if you've ever harvested lavender, but to just get a pound of the little buds off the top, it's a lot of plant material. I honestly don't think there's that much of it out there. I mean, there's a lot of lavender farms, but I start thinking globally and where it's all been marketed, and I just have a hard time believing it. So I do strictly infused oils. My most recent experience was I thought I found a really good deal on some hydrosols to use in my moisturizers, because they're wonderful and my skin feels so good, and people just love my moisturizer. And my mom loves my moisturizer. And I sold some to a friend because, you know, I'm not going to need a gallon. And I noticed it was a little different than some I had bought before from a different place. The smell was a little different. I mean, it was still lavender, but it was a little bit different. And so I sold my friend, and this is my good friend. This is like my best friend. She's my younger sister. And she goes, hey, the so-and-so hydrosol is great, but this other hydrosol, she goes, it's got kombucha growing in it. And I'm going, and she knew what it was, and I knew what it was. It's bacteria. And I'm going, I just bought that. I just bought that like maybe 6 weeks ago. These are supposed to last anywhere from 6 months to a year. And I'm like, baffled. And so here I invested quite a chunk of money into hydrosols that I can't use. I am in the process of, I have some old PDFs and instructions on how, old school, 1800, how to make hydrosols. He's been doing it since the beginning of time. People like to smell pretty. I believe done properly, and it can be done good. There's companies out there that test every 3 months, and that's someone I would buy from. They're really strict, and a lot of them actually, there's several that when you order it, it's actually made when you order it, so you're getting it fresh. I truly believe that they do need some kind of preservative. I'm not talking about a toxic chemical preservative, but distilled with alcohol, so that they're a certain percent of alcohol. And that means, for me, 190 proof, 95% alcohol, and so much of what goes into the water is alcohol, and there's all these measurements. Witch hazel is double steam distilled. Good witch hazel is double steam distilled, and it's 14% alcohol. That's why it's preserved. Witch hazel's wonderful. A lot of them out there, you know, no alcohol, none of this, and I actually worry about that, and so I am putting off purchasing any more whatsoever, and I'm going to start making my own for my products. I doubt that I'll sell it. I don't have any interest in selling something that I'm going to need, and that it takes a lot of plant material, a huge amount, to make it. So the quality of the ingredients and where you get it is very important. Like that, you need to search around. I found some new companies where to get some butters, cocoa butter, mango butter, shea butter. There was one company I had ordered it from, and it's like someone knew I was trying out. And I'd been buying it from this other company, and it's wonderful, good stuff. And I bought this new stuff. I'm like, wait a minute here, and I still have some left. And I'm like comparing them. They don't look anything alike. They don't even smell alike. And so I started doing some research and stuff like that, and it's like my senses just kept telling me not to use it, so I didn't. And I have also found another company, and they're equal. So you really got to be careful who you buy from, and there does definitely have to be a certain level of trust and stuff. The rawer the ingredient, the better it is in the butters and stuff like that. The least amount of processing. Cold infused is great. There's no processing. There's not any heating. Only time I heat a cold infused oil or barks, cinnamon. I get them started with the heat, and then the windowsill does the rest in the sun. I live on the Oregon coast. I've never ever had a problem with brewing my tinctures and oils in the window, flipping them, shaking them every day. There's all these things about a dark, warm place. It's really hard to find a dark, warm place on the Oregon coast. It's hardly ever warm here, and it's pretty much dark all the time. So it's dark and cold. Solar infused in the window. I don't have a problem. Different parts of the country may have a problem. You have to find out where it works best. But the rawest form possible, like the butters and the oils and stuff, that you really want where it's been run through a machine, not a lot of heat's been added. Heat starts killing things and breaking it down and expressed out. They do chemical extraction. I won't use it. I don't want the butters and stuff that I'm putting into a product to have petroleum in them. Most, not all, solvents for extracting in the commercial industry are a petroleum based. Petroleum's great for cars, but it's not really good for human beings. What I'm going to show you here is just a couple of oils I make. These are cold infused. And I'm going to show you some calendula that I grow and explain a little bit about that. So, as long as I don't spill it. So, these are some of my calendula flowers. Calendula officinalis. They haven't quite opened up all the way because it's cold out this morning. They still are wet. When you harvest your calendula and dry it, your calendula should look identical to this except dry and smaller. When I make infused oils out of this, I don't put the whole head in. The best is just the petals. So you don't have the weight of this here. A lot of people put that in. I don't. I work my petals off, or pluck them off. Has a distinct smell when it's fresh, and a very good smell when it's dry. I only use dry herbs because I've experienced mold and souring and turning rancid, or what smells rancid. I made fresh calendula oil several years back, and I made half a gallon, and it smelled twangy and nasty. And when I recently bought calendula tea, hydrosol, it was that smell, and I go, that's why my oil, I dumped it out, but that's why my oil, it was fresh plant. So I do everything dry. Your herbs, when they're dry, should look like when they're growing. If you purchase calendula and it's not really bright in color, sometimes it's just yellow, and yellow is yellow, but it'll be a nice yellow, and orange will be a nice orange. It actually brightens up when the orange does when it's dry. If it looks like dried up, really pale yellow straw. It's old. It's old. And there's something I've noticed about companies that sell bulk herbs. I do not sell bulk herbs. I work too hard to get what I need to put in the products I make. When you get your package, it will have packaged for August 2014 on it, but that doesn't tell you when it was harvested. Their verbiage tells you all this stuff about harvested, fresh, dried, tested, but it never tells you the harvest date. So you don't know really how old it is. All you get on there is packaged August 2014. That's all you get. Mine, my bags when I'm storing them, which I don't keep them stored very long, I use them fresh. I've had to throw a lot of calendula out because about 9 months and it's just gone. Other herbs, a lot longer. So this is my dried cold infused St. John's Wort Oil. I'm holding my hand in it because it's so clear it's picking up white. It's really nice blood red. It smells like St. John's wort. It comes out like a blood red, purple blood red. That's a sign of a good St. John's wort infused oil. I only use the flowers. When I harvest, I snip all the flowers off. Try not to get very much leaves in it. Some, there's a little tiny bit. Dry it very good. I grind all my herbs to a fine powder, and that way everything's released into the solvent, which my solvent is oil for oils, and my menstruum mix for tinctures. And I'm starting to make sprays because I like the sprays, and I have a menstruum mix for that too. I'll share all that with you on my website and give it all away. This is calendula oil I make. I'm so afraid I'm going to spill it. It is a really nice dark yellow orange. Very, very nice. It doesn't have a nasty twang smell. So that's a little bit I wanted to share about raw ingredients, and if it's important to you what you're putting in your body or on your body, these are some things that would be beneficial to pay attention to. Thank you for your time, and I hope I've been helpful in the information I shared. You have a great day.